All right, good afternoon, everybody. We did have a student that was supposed to be here to present, but he's just running a little bit late, so I'm just going to go through a quick bio to introduce Darris Boomer, who's one of our speakers for Penn State Startup Week. So Mr. Boomer has worked for a Fortune 500 company since he was 16 years old, right? And some of those companies include IBM, Tiffany Company, Ralph Lauren, and Accenture, right? He has over 20 years of experience being an executive in these companies and guiding some of the leaders in their IT strategies. He's worked in a number of different continents, including Europe, North America, and Asia. And currently, he is the founder and CEO of Boomer Technology Group, which he'll talk to you a little bit about what's included in that. His motto is, has laptop, will travel, right? So he's someone that kind of embodies this generation of taking your knowledge with you and trying to make positive impacts as he travels the world. With that being said, please help me introduce Mr. Darris Boomer.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. I'm Derris Boomer. I have my own company called Boomer Technology Group. I want to thank the guys for having me again this year, the faculty for having me this year. I was here last year, and you guys are great students. So without any further ado, my topic today is 7 trends you guys should know. So I'm going to cover these 7 trends that are happening in Fortune 500 companies across the globe. And you guys should be concerned about these things because as you guys leave school to become your own bosses and work for big companies, these 7 technologies are going to help you guys make some decent money in life, but have a career path long term. So I'll go into each of these in detail. We'll have some questions and answers at the very end, and hopefully you'll get some jewels of knowledge today from me directly about my career path in the last 30 plus years, and we'll have some fun. So first of all, your career options coming out of Penn State when you guys graduate. Some of you are going to go into work for an actual company, either Fortune 500 or 1,000 or so forth. Some of you may become consultants, some may become entrepreneurs, and throughout your life cycle and your career path, you're going to encounter these 3 things on a constant basis. So if you go for my journey, I went to college at a school called Kean University in New Jersey. I graduated in a degree in management science, and my very first career job was working for the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. I didn't like that job at all. So I moved on to work for IBM. So I began my life on the client side working in Fortune 500 companies. And at IBM, the beauty for me was that I was exposed to so many kind of technologies beyond at my home. So back when I was in school, in high school, we didn't have computers, we had typewriters, literally. That's how old I am. And within this journey, working at IBM, I learned about how they use different technologies for businesses. So back then in the 90s for IBM, they were big on mainframes, they were big on software. Back in the 96 time frame, they started rolling out more applications in regards to the internet that was out back in that time frame. So I got my teeth kind of aligned in regards to software and what's happening in businesses across the globe working at IBM. Fast forward from my time at IBM, I moved to a company called Tiffany Company, the jewelry company. And during my 10 years time at Tiffany's, I literally traveled the globe as an employee, rolling out things such as point of sale systems, retail systems, e-commerce at the different Tiffany stores across the globe. And that was a great thing for me to learn about business, how things are run in different countries, and how we take one technology from one company's perspective and having it scale across the globe to different organizations within the company itself. I went from Tiffany Company over to Polo Ralph Lauren and worked there, and I kind of changed my perspective and my bag of tricks. I went from working on e-commerce and retail systems and custom CRM kind of software to working on what we call workforce management, which is software such as ERP software, where you're talking about HR and payroll. And I'll go more into detail about those things. So we're going to fast forward. I left Polo. I went on to work for Accenture for a few years as a consultant. And now I have my own company. So my current life today, I kind of jump back and forth between I have my own business as an entrepreneur, but I'm a consultant. But all my clients, at the end of the day, they're the one paying me the actual check. And there could be a middleman in between me and the client, but for the most part, my entire career path has been between all three of these avenues for you guys to think about for your career path. So again, we're going to go into detail about what's important to you guys. If you guys want to contact me, here's my information. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on some social media. In the future, if you want my deck, let me know. I'll give you a copy of this deck. Again, my history in the past, who I've worked for, some of my portfolio, what I've worked for in the last 30 plus years. I've done every role you can do on IT, from being a tester, a trainer. I've been an application coder, developer. I've been a project manager, a program manager. I've done all types of things in the last 30 plus years. But the three things that I kind of live my life by is I walk into a client's building for the first time, I think about three principles. And the first one is the most vital one. If I come to your company as a consultant, I need to know your business processes. So right now in my current life, I work on HR software, payroll software. We want to hire someone in this system, so we want to retire you or fire you. How do we track that person from beginning to end? That's my current life, understanding that whole process of how we run this business in regards to hiring people in HR. The next point I want to go into is, as you guys go forward in your career paths, you're going to encounter people in all levels, be it executive levels, junior members, and being able to work with people across the globe with language barriers, cultural barriers. That's your value point as a human being, to learn how to work with people of all types, people who are introverts, extroverts, and so forth. So the value point of hiring me is that I understand business process, I understand people of all types. The third thing I bring to the table is technology, that I know certain things that I'm certified in and is a value point to hire me. But in reality, to my mindset, it doesn't matter the technology. What matters is we have a business with a process, we've got people, we've got a time frame to roll out some technologies. And the value point is, will this technology make their lives better? If the answer is no, we don't want to do it. Why are we going to waste our money and time and efforts to do it? So that's how I see business in general, that it's in this process, people, and technology. And at the end of the day, I'll provide a client a custom solution. For you guys coming out of school this year as you graduate, I've got 10 things that I call the 10 tech commandments. And I think these are valuable points for any size business, whether you're at enterprise level or you're a startup out of your garage. So the first one, technology should always innovate. It should automate people's lives. It should improve your processes. It should remove what's not being today efficient in your business model. Lastly, it should give you a maximizing of your return of your investment. If you're going to invest $10 million in the software, we should get back 20 plus or $80 million out of the software we're going to install for our company's perspective of value. On the flip side, as an employee or as an individual, give me back my time. If I implement, the latest and greatest app on your cell phone, is it less keystrokes to make my life easier? Can I go home earlier? Can I enjoy my family, my hobbies, whatever I'm doing in my life? Is this tech going to make my life better? Will it create jobs? There's a misnomer about technology people that we're all working to get people out of their jobs. Well, no. If we're going to bring forth a brand new technology, it should really create jobs. For example, back in the 1800s, someone would sit there and make horse carriages. They had horseshoes, they had horses. And then someone decided we're going to make cars, and that person was out of a job. Horseshoes are no longer valuable in the organization. We're not making cars. So that person should be able to take that technology of making cars as their new skill set to change with the times, right? So again, it shouldn't take away a job. It should create more jobs, in theory. Lastly, tech should build nations. That whatever we're doing that we can encumber technology to make our lives better, it should help build our nations. It should help improve our planet. It should help, again, improve our lives. If we can't do these 10 things in technology, then why are we doing it? So let's not just do technology just for doing it. It's got to have a reason and a purpose for it. And that's my viewpoint on those topics. For you guys, to be successful in your career paths going forward, if I could talk to my old 19-year-old self, 20-year-old self, I'd say the following. Whatever you do in the next 30 plus years of your career until you retire, you want to become a subject matter expert wherever you go in life. If you're going to be in a building to get a check at this organization, why not be the best while you're here, right? Next point, understand your value in the open market, how to negotiate. I can tell you right now, in the last 30 plus years, I probably lost about 50K in money by not being a good negotiator. So know how to negotiate your money. The third one, this is vital for your entire life. Always be a student, always be learning something new. I know a bunch of people right now that are between the ages of 55 and 64 who've been displaced in their business, displaced from companies, and they're looking for jobs. And they're bitter, they're mad because they had a skill set from 30 years ago that's no longer valid, and they're unemployed. And I tell these folks all the time, you need to be a student again. Learn a new skill set and keep yourself active in the open market. If you can't be a student for life, you will be out of a job at some point. That's how business works in our country and abroad. Fourth point here, be prepared to the market. Things will change and adjust. Back to my previous example, the guy that made horseshoes at some point was out of a job making horseshoes, right? He needed to change his career path to help make cars. Think about our current setup today. We're used to gasoline vehicles. Now we've got Tesla saying you don't need gas anymore, right? We can now do it off electric. It's a whole different perspective of how to create cars, right? But it's happening. Fifth thing here is to spread your time and your wealth and your money and your knowledge base of people. Volunteer back to your communities as you guys leave the school and be a part of your community and spread the wealth of information you have in your brain. The last 5 points. Set goals and expectations. You should make a plan, execute it, review it, adjust it, repeat that plan. You should fail fast and fail furious. My current company is Boomer Tech Group. It is not my first company. I've had several companies beforehand that have failed. And luckily for me, I failed quickly and fast and moved on to the next one. So failure is not a bad thing. It's a learning point for you guys. And in life, sometimes your best thing to ever learn is to fail and walk away from that experience understanding that that was bad and not repeat that again. So again, you guys are young, go out here, start your own businesses. I've met top people from almost, I'm gonna say at least 75 top Fortune 500 companies in the planet. They're not all geniuses. They're not all Steve Jobs. You guys can do the same thing that Steve Jobs can do, that the guy from Amazon can do. You can do the exact same thing. Right now, 2019, you're in the best time to do your own business. Your cell phone is more powerful than what they had for tech going to the moon back in the 70s and the 60s. So there's no excuse for you guys not to be successful with your businesses if you go for it in that capacity. Last 2 things. Understand opportunities, and when you're gonna make a power move for your career path. If you're at company A today for a few years, you decide, you know what, I wanna move on to company B. But when you go to company B, why are you going there? Well, I want more money. Okay, that's a good value point, I want more money. But think about these things as you make your next power move in your career path. If I go to your company with my new skill set that I already have today for more money, when I get there, what am I gonna learn? Who am I gonna meet? What's the value point of working for your brand? I can work for anybody on the planet. Why am I coming to your company to work with you guys? Am I gonna meet him? Am I gonna meet her? Who am I gonna meet to make my life a better life? Who am I gonna make me a better person? And if you can't answer that question beyond the more money part, then don't do it. Your entire journey for you to be successful in life is not just based upon money. Whatever your core values are, whatever you love and you hold dear to your heart, make your power moves and your career path match your value points. Again, I'm gonna leave from company A to company B. Who am I gonna meet? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna accomplish? At the end of the day, when I'm finished with this journey with this company B, am I happy and content? The last part, and I've been telling this to my kids for years, wherever you go in life, make your presence known. If you're gonna be in here today in the building, let me know you're here. Speak your voice. Speak your mindset to be valuable in the organization. If you do these 10 things, I can guarantee you guys will be successful in the next 30 plus years of your career path. Now, back to my presentation. I'm gonna cover 7 technologies, but I want you guys to think about the last 110 years of tech. What's happened in transcended technology? Your generation is doing so many things in the last 10 years that pretty much trumped the last 70 years. What's happening now with the Amazons, with the Teslas of the world, they're doing things that are revolutionary, and they're not doing it with a lot of tools at their disposal in comparison to back in the day we were an industrial organization across the board. So think about where we're at today in the future. I'll give you an example. When I was in college, I had a professor who said, hey, one day we'll have televisions that are the size of books in thickness. And in our class, we all started laughing. You're right. These giant TVs with giant tubes are going to someday be that small. No way, no how, never going to happen. He was correct. You can make TV smaller, as you can see on the screen right there, right? So here's the next thing about that conversation. At some point, we're going to have TVs to the point where it's a piece of paper. You can actually take this television, fold it up, and put it in your pocket. So think about that concept. That TV on the screen, on the wall there, will be a piece of paper. Literally, I can fold it up, put it in my pocket, go to my hotel room, unfold it, put it on the wall, and watch television. It's coming. It's happening. It's in the future, but it's almost here. So my point to you guys is things are moving through each generation. Generation Z, baby boomers, things are constantly in movement. Don't be afraid of the future. The biggest part for you guys can now be your own businesses quite easily is the internet. In the history of man, we've never had that much interaction with people to communicate beyond a telephone or a video conference call. You can now get information almost instantaneously through your phone. Whatever you want to know is out there for you to divulge that data. We've never had that ever in the history of mankind. So internet penetration, it's happening everywhere. So for you guys getting your own company started for the first time, you're not limited to America anymore, or North America. You can now go abroad with your businesses. You can find other students like yourselves across the globe, in Asia, in Europe, and start your own companies because of the internet. It's an enabler across the board, across genres, across economic backgrounds. So our 7 trends we're going to go over real quick. We're going to cover cloud ERP and SaaS solutions. We're going to cover social media. We're going to cover big data. We're going to cover AI. We're going to cover IoT, blockchain, digital currency, and we're going to cover what I call next level mobile. It's in 2 parts. It is mobile BI, mobile ERP. So without further ado, you guys know what the cloud is. And this is what ERP is. So going back to my career path, I got more into human capital management, ERP systems. So in a nutshell, if you have a company where, let's say you're General Electric, and you want to buy some software that will let you do a few things in it. If you want to be able to track your employees and what they're doing in the company, if you want to track your resources of how you procure things from manufacturing, whatever you want to encumber in this software package, you're going to buy an ERP package of some type. So out of the box, an ERP solution would have accounting, finance, materials management, vendor management, asset management, all in one flavor of a system to be used across the globe for your organization. So companies such as an SAP, a Workday, or PeopleSoft and Oracle are very hot commodities. They do very well in this lane. They now provide what we call a software as a service, whereas historically, if you were in a company, you'd have bought a license for your company to have X amount of people, but now we can pay by person a much cheaper cost for your company if it's a SaaS solution. So for an example, you can have Microsoft 365 as a SaaS solution. You can have Salesforce, you can have Google Apps for you guys, and it's a lot cheaper for you guys to buy these things on the open market as opposed to buying it 30 years ago. For you guys coming out of school, opportunity-wise, if you're a vendor, if you're a consultant, or you're looking for the client side, these are the hot jobs that are happening. These are the hot companies that are in the space of ERP. So if you want to work for SAP directly or one of their partners, it's a hot space, or Oracle, or Workday, or Microsoft, and so forth. If you're working in direct sales with your company, if you're a VAR, a channel partner, independent vendor, they're all making money. The big 5, they're making money in this space. So I'll give you an example. I worked for 2 years for Accenture, based out of New York City office. And during my tenure there, my job was to work in the HCM space, which was, we covered 4 hot software packages. We covered Workday, Kronos, Taleo, and SuccessFactors, which is now owned by SAP. So we were pushing those 4 technologies to our client base at Accenture. And for us in our portfolio of companies that we worked with for clients, the client had to pay us at least $50 million minimum to have us in the building. So we want to make sure we get all their business in that space that we were trying to accomplish. And it covered all types of things, but it was always in the space of an ERP solution for the client. So if you work for an Ernst & Young or KPMG, they're all fighting to get the same amount of money from these vendors and these vendors' customers. So it's a good space to be in if you're looking to get in this space in the future. They're doing all types of things, and the hot jobs in this space is the following. If you're a solution architect, if you're an app developer, project manager, QA analyst, integration consultant, data scientist, and so forth, these are hot jobs in this space. So here's my point to you guys. If you want to go work for these big firms for consulting, you could do that. Or to the actual vendor themselves. You work for an SAP or for a Workday or for an Oracle. These hot jobs will be around for the next 10 years, guaranteed, because these companies are making sure that their clientele are pushing out these ERP solutions across the globe. So you're going to see these things happening more and more. And you can be entrepreneurial in certain regards, working for these kind of companies. They're great companies to work for. I would say, if I could tell my 19-year-old self, hey, work as a consultant for one of these big companies, I would have said yes. And here's the cool part about these companies. You'll travel the globe literally. The life and times of these people who work in these types of roles will be, you're on site with a client for 4 days a week, and they're paying for all your meals, your hotels, your rental cars. And if you go international, you can become a director level like within 5 years or less. So you can jump up in the space of being an executive level person very quickly, working for these kind of companies in the future. Does that make sense? Okay. So before I jump to the next hot technology, any questions so far? Comments? Sure. So ERP is an enterprise resource planning software, and it encumbers various modules of data and departments. So for example, if my company, I'll say back to GE. GE manufactures appliances, they manufacture things for the military, they manufacture televisions, all types of things. So in an ERP package, you want to be able to track that manufacturing process. Yes, we procured some resources material-wise from Africa, and here goes the information about that procurement process. We've got a vendor from New Jersey named Derris Boomer. He's one of our approved vendors. That's in our system. We're going to hire 10,000 people this year in the city of Las Vegas, and we're going to track them from HR within the HR module. So at any rate, this actual ERP package can do all these things for my company in my current example. Make sense? Social media, you guys all know what this is. So from a consumer perspective, you guys understand social media. It's a part of your daily lives. You guys get it. What you may not know about this, in corporate America, there's a large growth of social media across the globe, and companies are seeing that. So companies that sell to consumers, they're trying to figure out how do we use social media to sell to more of our constituents, right? People who like our products, how do we use them? How do we use the internet to use them, to gain them, and to track them through social media? That happens day in and day out. What you might not know is in the same vein, certain companies are saying, you know what, I want to put a certain social media app in our company for our employees. And I'll give you an example. I have a client that they have an app called an SME app. SME is the acronym for subject matter expert. And in this app, they said we're going to give it to all of our employees to use whenever they want to, and they can create their own profiles like a Facebook. So if I'm a person in manufacturing in Argentina, and I'm a specialist on how to build this machine called XYZ, I put on my profile, I'm Darris Boomer, I'm in Argentina, I'm level 7, I've been here for 8 years, and I'm an expert in this one machine. So now let's say you do the exact same thing over in Korea. You're an expert in your machine in Korea. So now I can go and check and say, hey, my machine broke today, I'm having an issue. Who can I find on my social media app who's like myself, does the same job that I do globally? I can do a search in Korea. Oh, there she is. She does the exact same thing I do. I can put on my Google glasses and say, hey, I'm having an issue over here. look at it real quick. Put on my Google Glasses on the social media app, and I can now show her what I'm doing. And now they're using social media within the organization to keep their maintenance costs down in their organization. So at any rate, social media is being utilized in various capacities beyond the consumer side is my whole point. So if you guys are going to go into the social media space, there are a lot of hot jobs out there happening. And again, whether you're on a client side or consulting, you can do a lot within these applications. But don't forget, these companies are also creating their own version of those applications internally. So it's a hot commodity outside of the consumer side of social media. Does that make sense? So before I move on to the next topic of hot technologies, is there a question so far about that? Make sense? Okay, I'll move on. Big data. You may have heard this term over the years. It's big data. BI is business intelligence. We've got something now called data lakes. So historically, if you had big data, it could mean that, hey, my company's been around like General Electric for like over 50 some odd years. We have all this consumer data in our company's databases. We have all this employee data. We've got trend data. And it's in some giant data warehouse somewhere on multiple servers. And historically, you'd have to go and take this data, pull it out, do some manipulation to the data, some manipulation point, and then put it somewhere for information. Whereas in the data lake, you can say, you know what, I can just take your entire data and I can extrapolate this easily through certain algorithms in a data lake. So why you guys should care about this? Think about your personal life and your business life. Historically, if you were an ERP company, CRM company, you've got all kind of data points historically in your company, transactional data from e-commerce with your customers. So at any rate, you've got all this data in your organization. You're trying to encumber to pull out information to make you a better company in a few parts, to be a better competitor to your competitors, to sell more devices, to sell more products, to sell more whatever you sell, to track your employees better, all kind of things. So at any rate, you need to be able to maintain your data and make money off this data. So my point to you guys is that even in your personal life, like I have an Apple device. I now pay Apple, I think, $10 a month for 2 terabytes. I am nowhere near 2 terabytes of data in my pictures and my documentation. I have a daughter who's in college. She's over 2 terabytes. Photos, her personal stuff is like ridiculous. So that's my personal life. So think about that in your company. If you were like an Amazon, you've got like 500,000 people who are in the company. All their company data is through the roof of petabytes of data in the company itself. So my point is a hot commodity for you guys going forward. There are certain things happening in data that can make you a lot of money as a consultant or as an entrepreneur. Things such as data governance, how do you do your cloud strategy for your data, natural language processing, you've got data quality issues, to the point now we even have what we call a CDO, a Chief Data Officer. So historically in the company you'd have a CEO, a CFO, a CMO in some cases for marketing, right? Now you've got a CTO or CIO. Now you've got an actual CDO, meaning that this is an actual company officer who owns the data in the company. So when something goes wrong with data, he's on the hook for it, right? So those are an actual job title now about data. You've got AI, you've got security issues with your data, analytic tools that are out there. So my point to you guys is that these trends here, there's money to be made across the board on all these things. Opportunity-wise, again, if you're a vendor or a consultant or on the client side, product support, development, the hot jobs would be data scientists, database administrators, big data engineers, AWS engineers. So if you're certified in certain technologies like AWS, it's a hot commodity for you guys. So at any rate, we're never going to stop having too much data, no matter where you go in life. Again, on your personal life to your business life. So as a career path for you guys, this will be going along for years and years from now, that these are hot jobs for a while. And again, it could be aligned to an actual software package or a degree coming out of school. Before I move on to the next topic, so far about this one, anyone? Nothing? You guys are easy today, okay. The next hot commodity is artificial intelligence, AI. I'm not referring to the robot that's making the Tesla. I'm referring to other AIs beyond just the physical robot. And people are afraid about the robots are coming to take your job. And I tell folks, I'm not fearful at all. When the robots come, I'll be here making robots, fixing robots. So I don't have an issue about robots. But for you guys, you've got AI throughout your life today. You've got your Series, you've got your Microsoft version of a Siri, you've got the Siri over on Amazon's version of Siri. You've already got an AI today on your telephone. It's already part of your life. So for you guys, career-wise, you're not going to escape this AI. It's going to continue to happen. And here are a few examples of it in life sciences with health monitoring of devices. Like I have an iWatch, an Apple Watch, where it tells me my blood pressure, my heart rate. If something's going wrong, I can get an alert about that. There's an AI happening behind the scenes to kind of figure out what's happening with me for an alert. Again, going back to cars and automation of vehicles. I have a new car, it's a Honda Accord. And in my car, it allows you to follow someone in front of you and slow down for that person. It'll stop on its own. If you have a Tesla, it can actually turn and drive and follow people around. So at any rate, you're seeing AI beyond the robots happening throughout different industries. And my point to this is to tell you guys the career path here that's going to be very, very lucrative in the next 10 years. So the first hot job out there we'll talk about is machine learning engineers, that having the background to figure out how to program that this machine can go out there and learn different things happening, whether it be a process in your business, if it's your shopping habits in a shopping cart, if you go to a website, that's a hot job to have. Computer vision engineer, algorithm engineers, computer scientists, AI programmers, statisticians, directors of analytics. These are all hot jobs. For focus areas, look into being a virtual agent, natural language generation, speech recognition, decision management, analytics, robotics, biometrics. They're all good things to get into in the future. And again, whether you go work for a company from day one or start your own business, these are hot commodities happening right now. So before I move to the next one, and again, I've got stats about the money that's out there for it. Is there anyone out there so far for a question so far? Comment? Concern? You falling asleep? All right, we're going to have questions at the very end about me in general, if you have anything at the end. Internet of Things. People keep hearing about this, and their mind, they think about, you buy a new Samsung refrigerator, it's on the internet. Or my new washing machine can go on the internet and tell me when something's wrong. This is going beyond that one application of that. I'm referring to IoT in regards to corporations and how they're using it in business. Here's some stats about what's happening with IoT in the next 10 years, projection-wise. It's $1 trillion business, like without a doubt. Application-wise, I've got a client who, they're a manufacturer of beverages, and they've got different plants across the globe. So in that manufacturing line for their beverages, they want to track every little thing that's happening in that machine. From the beginning to end, these devices on these machines can tell them it's getting ready to break down. Okay, and I'll give you an example. We've got a machine line that has it can make beer, and it can do I think it's 1,000 beer cans can be filled up in a minute. So think about that. 1,000 beer cans can be filled up in a minute. That's remarkable. This machine is super, super fast. So this machine can fill the beer cans and then puts the beer in a case out the door to a truck. So this machine is super, super long. And this machine will have literally 100 some odd IoT devices on it, so it will know when it breaks down at a certain point. So they can now monitor that from a headquarters perspective of, okay, that machine that's in Argentina broke down last night at 2 p.m. Okay, we need to send someone out there to fix that in maintenance. Okay, which part of the machine broke down? Well, there's 100 things to look at. It's item 95 and 205 broke down. So having that monitoring process globally for them, in an IoT perspective, they can save time and money about that machine breaking down so quickly and getting it fixed quickly. On the other side, besides consumer appliances. Again, manufacturing, wearable devices, smart glasses, smart buildings. Think about your campus here. Is it cold in here for you guys? Are you warm? Are you hot? You can put IoT devices in every window, every door, every monitoring area and tell you what's happening, temperature-wise what's happening. That door opened up 18 times today. It could be an IoT device online for that. Your automobiles, smart cities. Think about your city's highways and how you can make sure that we can monitor what's happening on the highways. So when you think about IoT, it's not just appliances. It's way beyond that and how we can monitor these things. When we say it's on the internet, it's on a closed network. You know, it's not going to be open to anyone to access those things. So at any rate, the hot jobs for IoT for the next 10 years is going to be an IoT hardware hacker, support tech, robot coordinator, solution architect, and a UI designer. So those are the hot jobs in IoT. So far, sounds good? Makes sense? All right. Blockchain, digital currency. I'm going to skip the money part of it. You guys know what blockchain is. Here's some stats about blockchain being a multi-billion-dollar thing. Here goes the hot cryptocurrencies that are currently out there. I'm not going to jump into these details. You guys probably already know this stuff already. What you might not know is that there's a bigger value point with blockchain beyond currency. So let's forget about, for right now, currency. Think about the security part of blockchain. Think about how you can disrupt whole industries. So think about, like, for example, if I were an artist selling my music, and today I have a website for e-commerce, and I have got PayPal, and you can go buy my music tomorrow. And I'm going to pay PayPal whatever I'm going to pay them. But if I can go now and say, hey, I've got an app that has a blockchain connection, and send me your money directly, I don't need PayPal anymore, that's a disruptor, right? So in the same mindset, you're seeing blockchain used across the globe beyond just the money part. In regards to tokenization, data management, think about digital voting in the future. Today we vote on a voting machine, right? On a Tuesday for national elections. That can change through blockchain, right? We can be voting one day perhaps with your phone and biometrics at some point. It's coming, right? E-commerce, digital assets. Think about, again, tracking things in your company. If you have certain things that are of value we want to track, we want to track what's happening with our inventory. We can use blockchain for those types of things. So again, there's a lot of money to be made within blockchain beyond cryptocurrency. The hot jobs for this would be blockchain engineers, developers, designers. And again, if you guys are going to do your own startup, there are a lot of things that are not happening today that you can make for the first time. Do you think about how to apply blockchain to it? My last topic is next level mobile. And I think this is one of the hottest ones because of a few reasons. Some stats first. First stat here, this is Google Play. So in the Google Play Store, they categorize all their applications. So any kid now from junior high to high school to college can now learn how to program an app, get it registered through the App Store, and have it out there to be sold, to be free. Their top 4 categories is education, business, lifestyle, and entertainment. And that's from the Google side. These are stats from last year. On the Apple iOS side, in their store, this is so their numbers they have, their top 4 categories, it's games, business, education, and lifestyle. So you saw 3 of them that were in the same mode. Lifestyle, education, and business are hot commodities in the app stores. So my point to you guys, if you're going to become entrepreneurs, if you create your applications for those 3 hot topics, that's a good thing, right? But again, they're hot topics, everyone's doing them. If you look at the low end, what's not popular? At the bottom here, you've got sports, photos and videos, finance, music, news, social networking. They're not as plentiful. And the same thing for the Google side, productivity, health and fitness, personalization, tools, books and references, they're not as big. So my point to you guys, as an entrepreneur, you can either follow the hot trend up top, there's much more people out there for competition, or you can find your niche in a not popular one and become the biggest thing in that space. For example, sports is not that big on the App Store as far as sports apps in quantity. So perhaps you go out there and you can monopolize that for your business, right? So think about that. anyone in the entire planet can now go into the app stores with their own app and have it registered and sell it 24/7. Again, in the history of mankind, you've never had an opportunity to make something, put it out there, you can go to bed and make money when you're sleeping. Think about that. That's pretty like amazing to do that. And you guys can all do this on your own without anything beyond a book, to read a book how to develop something and create it. On the same side of corporate America, the current trend, they're doing the same thing in corporate America. They're saying, hey, we can now develop things for our employees and get it out there a lot faster internally. So having these big giant software packages is no longer needed. So for example, if you're in a high turnover company such as like retail, there's salespeople in the store. How do you train people quickly and fast? So now they're using things like gamification to kind of get people to play a game to get trained on it. Productivity, how do you make your lives quicker and faster? We're moving away from PCs and laptops to tablets and to cell phones. But I would argue that pretty soon we're not going to have any more tablets. They're going to be like dinosaurs. I think your cell phone will be your one and only thing you're ever going to have. How so? In the future, if I could walk into a room that has a monitor and my cell phone can just literally connect to that monitor, I don't need a physical monitor. I can just go to my TV screen. Or if you think about the movie with Tom Cruise where they had like the digital monitor in the air, you can see it, you can do all that stuff. If I can do this with my phone and not have an actual monitor and just do this, move stuff on my screen, I don't need a tablet, right? I don't need to have the hottest whatever. So I think in the future, we're not going to have that. We're going to just have one device on. It may not even be this big anymore. It may be that big. It may be on your watch. Who knows? We're not going to need those things. So my point is, we're going to have apps forever at this point. So you can make a lot of money, again, health and fitness entertainment for you guys opportunity-wise. If you become a hot job in this market for these things, it would be a mobile app developer, full-stack developer, Java developers, iOS, Android, QA. On the Microsoft store, not sure how it's going to work out long term. I would bet my money on Android and iOS for now, but it's not a guarantee they'll still be here in 20 years, but I think they'll be here. But I think, again, these are hot commodities for you guys to think about. In the last, I think 5 years ago, I went to Ethiopia for some charity work, and I did a computer lab. And I was amazed that their country has changed in regards to technology in two parts. They all had cell phones. So from my perspective, I grew up with a PC in my house, a typewriter to a PC, and kind of how things changed through consumers buying stuff. I got to an iPhone eventually, but I had something before the iPhone. You've got folks who, from day one, it's a cell phone. That's their livelihood. Everything is on their cell phone. They never had a PC ever. So you're seeing people in certain third world countries riding horses with carriages, and they have a cell phone on their side. Think about that. They don't have a house and a car and televisions. They've got a horse and carriage and a cell phone. This is very vital to their lives. So I believe in the next 20 years, it's only going to get bigger and better for you guys, your cell phones. So mobile devices will be a hot commodity for a long, long time. That is my presentation. I will take any open questions about my career, what I've done, what I see. Did I go fast? Have any time? Okay.
Do you have any advice? Oh, dang. Do you have any advice on like pivoting in your career?
Yes, good question for pivoting. So again, back to my history. I came out of college working for the IRS, didn't like that career path, went to IBM, technology company. So whenever I made a move in my career path, I always had to answer a few questions about that pivot. Of course you want more money. We all want more money. That's a given. But again, whenever I made a power move, I thought about, again, why am I going there? And at the end of the day, if I stay there forever, will I be happy to be there? So for example, for me, I like brands. So I like Tiffany's, I like Polo, I like Tesla, I like big brand companies. So I wouldn't go to a small company because I don't like that. I like a big brand. I respect brands. That's who I am as a person. So my career moves were always about the brand, beyond the company. Like I could work for your company and do anything in the company, because I got all kind of job skills. But if I don't like your company in general, why am I going to be there? If I don't respect your company's brand, I wouldn't work for you guys. And this is who I am as a person. So I think as I pivoted, I thought about those things. Beyond the money part, when I get there, what am I going to learn? What am I going to expect to get back out the deal? So that's one part of the pivot. The next part of my pivot, the thought would have been, if I make this move, what's the next move afterwards? Meaning if I go left now, where can left take me, right? If there's a brick wall, when I make this left, it was a bad move. So sometimes it's better for you to stay where you're at to find a better move. So when you're an entrepreneur with your own business trying to get money, you'll find clients any and everywhere, and they're going to throw you money at you. But not every client is worth your time and your trouble for it. Meaning, I may want to get hired by company XYZ, but they're a pain in the butt. They want to pay me like part-time money for full-time attention, right? So for my margin, I got to make sure that if I'm going to work for that company as a client, it's going to be lucrative for me as a company, but it's not going to kill me in my mind. Like, I'm wasting my time with this company. Does that make sense? Does that answer it? Okay. Anyone else?
Okay, so you were speaking about in the beginning about making your presence known as well as finding the people that'll help you in the future for your career. Can you speak a little bit more about that and how you would go about doing that?
Sure. So when I was in school, we didn't have the internet. Again, I'm 49, I'm old. So all we had, it was the newspaper and the library. That's all we had for a reference point. You can meet people, you know, in a coffee shop back then, which was Dunkin' Donuts back then. We didn't have Starbucks back then in Jersey. And that was your avenue, the library, books, and who I knew, my circle of friends of influence in my family. Today, you guys have LinkedIn, right? You've got social media. So as you build your network of people, you want to establish two things on a LinkedIn or wherever you're going to go. I don't just want to become your friend on LinkedIn because you worked at NASA. I want to establish with you a rapport that, oh, we have a relationship, right? We've got something that's valuable to both of us. If I'm going to become your friend on LinkedIn, it should be a two-way exchange here, right? I have a valuable network, you've got a valuable network. They're coming together for the first time. So my point to you guys is always be networking with people, but don't think it's going to be a short-term value gain. Meaning, I don't know who you know. I don't know who you know. So if we get together as a LinkedIn connection, it may come off in the future to help me out. You know what I'm saying? So think about it as a two-way exchange. I mean, it can help you today. Maybe that can help you in 5 years. Or who is in my network can help you out in 5 years. So I kind of look at it that way. Does that make sense? Like, trying to network. Because again, we didn't have that. So all you could do back then was just you find people within your circles, and that was pretty much it. Now you can find a stranger from anywhere. Oh, you're in Malaysia. You work for IBM. I work for IBM. We're like people. Oh, you went to Penn State. I went to Penn State. You're trying to find your tribe, right? So think about who you are as a person. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a Giants fan. You know, sports is one thing to get people together. I'm a foodie. I like certain foods, right? I love the Food Network. I have a home, so I'm a Home Depot person. So certain things will connect you with people to find your tribe. So in business, people want to figure out if they like you as a person. If you go to a job interview and you don't get hired, you want to ask them, well, what was I lacking? What was going to be better on, right? But at some point, you won't know. They'll say, you weren't a good fit. And you'll say, is there a class for that? Is there a class that says not a good fit? There isn't a class for that. They just didn't like you. So my point to you guys, you got to find your tribe and figure out the good and bad for you to take your course. But don't be afraid to try things out. Did I answer your question all the way through? I'm not going. Okay. Anyone else?
So in your presentation, you mentioned a lot of technical skills like natural language processing and stuff like that. What's your advice for like learning these really technical skills, especially whether we're in college or coming out of college?
Okay. I would say the following. Don't just chase the hot trend. Like you want to be in a career path where it's going to be around for a while. But remember I said earlier, always be a student. So if you like natural language programming, because you just like it, because you're a geek like that, then that's your path. But I wouldn't just take a gig because that's the hot thing. figure out what you like, and you can just try things out. Like I learned early on, I didn't like programming like C++, I didn't like Java. It's just, I'm not that kind of a person, but I did it for a while, right? So you try things out to figure out what's your niche, what you're good at, what you're not good at. But you should always have, I think, a value point of whatever it might be. So try things out and figure out what is your course of action for you. But once you figure out what you're good at, you want to put yourself in a box to people to be hired. So for instance, for me, if you're going to hire Darris Boomer, oh, well, he focuses on ERP implementations, HR, and payroll. He does that. Oh, he does it for three industries. I do it for retail, manufacturing, and for healthcare, right? It's a narrow focus. I'm not a shotgun consultant. I'm a narrowly focused kind of like a sniper. So I would tell you guys coming out of school this year or next year when you get out, don't tell companies, oh, I work for food. I'll do whatever you want me to do. They don't want to hear, they want to hear you come and say, I want to work in this department and do these 5 jobs because I went to school for this and I want to be in this career path. They want to hear you be focused and you know what you want. If you don't know what you want, then fake it. But you got to give them some details to, I want to do this. Being a shotgun is going to get you anywhere because all your people like yourself are in the same boat. You're all looking for a job for money, for food, right? You want to be focused like a sniper. If I could tell you anything today, be focused on what you want and figure it out. And if you fail, so what? Try something else. All right? Thank you for having me.
If you'd like to ask individual questions, we'll just step outside so the next class can come in. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.